Okay, welcome to the Johnny Come Latelys, episode 20. I found out after last week because I think I kept saying 18, but it was in fact 19, so there you go. I am Monadrew, and with me again is.
Cambrian. I'm not as dreaded today.
Not as dreaded. Oh, has it been a good day?
It's been all right. Yeah, I was on a driving lesson, so that was quite fun.
Oh, sweet. How are those going?
Yeah, all right. I've been asked to book a test soon, or as soon as I possibly can. In the current circumstances, obviously, it's kind of difficult to do it. So we'll have a date to work towards, and I'll be roadworthy soon.
Man, I'm kind of looking forward to that kind of freedom myself because it's been ages since I've had any kind of driving lessons. And it is one of the things I'm going to be putting money towards, but I've got like some substantial credit debt which I have to get rid of first.
Mm.
I mean, it's mostly out the way, but I've been looking at ways to accelerate it, including even getting a credit card, believe it or not.
Mm.
Because those can actually help. Because
Yeah.
with the current credit service I owe, I'm like paying interest every month, but there was a chance that I could like maybe get like a certain credit cards, do like a balance transfer, which will kind of save us on paying interest for a while I'm just paying that off. But I came to find out the service I'm using, which is PayPal Credit, by the way, won't let you do balance transfers, so fuck me, I
There's been
guess.
there's been some weird hoo-ha about PayPal lately as well. And not much really. Just eBay's now severed most of its ties with them. So when you sell on eBay now, if
hmm
you've still got your PayPal set up, it's not going in there anymore. It's going straight to your bank. But I did buy something off there today, and I used PayPal, so I don't quite get how that works.
I'm not sure, because I won something a few days ago and I paid through PayPal.
Yeah. But I also sold something, and it's holding on to my money until I put my bank details in, which I've done. But it's going to take like 48 hours or so to process it.
Oh, damn.
So I'm not posting it until then.
Well, yeah, either way, I probably won't be taking driving lessons for maybe at least a couple of months until I get some of the debt a bit further down.
Hmm.
My other option was lottery, but I don't know how much of a fucking solid plan that is.
According to some people, really good.
Really?
Um, I don't know. That's just what they kind of hold out hope for. Nah, I've never put on the lottery actually.
I have, but not in years. I don't know. I might try again just on the off chance, because it's like way too optimistic given the actual odds of winning anything.
Yeah.
But like in my mind, is I kind of remember something my mother said like ages ago that if she even just won a few thousand, it would help her out a lot, and it's kind of where I am right now. You know, even if I just like won £1,000 or something like a low end prize, that would like get rid of most of the money I owe. So
A couple of hundred wouldn't go a sniff, to be honest.
I mean, to be honest, anything wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, I
Just
don't
say
know. Who
so.
knows?
You could be a millionaire this time next week.
Not likely, but we'll see.
It'll be very cool. I'd probably still work. It's one of those things, and I won't get into it too much because we do like the tangent.
Yeah,
But
sure.
if you won the lottery next week, you paid off all your debts, what would you do?
Um, First thing, I wouldn't fucking tell anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's certain family members I also owe a little bit of money to, but it's like obviously it's less of a concern as the financial services. But
Yeah.
it's like I'd probably say, oh yeah, I want a little bit of money, I'd pay them off, and then shit, I don't know how long I'd keep it a secret. I'd probably even hold on to it for a while. Maybe like pay off some of the jobs I want to get done, like some of the DIY stuff.
In fairness, it's nobody's business, and there's those people, and you can see who they are, the ones that want the news to give them coverage and all sorts,
Mm.
and they're the ones that end up spending it all straight away on like jets and massive pools, and then they're poor again because the upkeep on it's just too high. Like
God,
they're not investing it at all.
who was he was kind of infamous in Britain like a decade or something ago. I forgot his name. Was it something Sweeney? He was like the so-called lotto lout
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
press, who has lost everything because he spent it on drugs and hookers in a big mansion. And
And now he's working some pedestrian job again, I think.
yeah, God, I'm trying to remember what his name was, but you can kind of see it happening, and I don't know.
It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. If you know what you're doing, you could honestly leave it in your bank, and the interest alone would do you for the rest of your life. But people don't do that. They buy like jets and
Well, when I was out shopping and I was in Fantasyland thinking about what I would do with the money apart from boring shit like DIY and debt payment, I was considering that as like the main thing. It was like, okay, I'm going to put a sizable amount of this as a safety net.
yeah, and that's as boring as it sounds. If I was to come into a massive windfall of money, I'd probably invest it in something. Probably invest it in myself because I'd really like to make a movie. Where you tend to see a yield back a few fold over, even if it's a shite movie. So that's something, but I wouldn't spend it all on it. I'd still, if I can, keep it in the thousands rather than the millions.
It's not important, but I did look it up. It was Michael Carroll was the lottery fella.
But that's what happens. Like it's always the idiots that get the, and that sounds harsh. I mean, bless him. He probably had a whale of a time for the few months or years that he's had that money, but it's kind of daft. He could have had that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like that is a life-changing amount of money, and he's squandered it.
Yeah. Does that make us boring? Because that is pretty much what I would do. I would definitely make sure some of it's as secure as it can be.
I'd tell no one. There's no way.
Oh, I would definitely not advertise it. Like, I'd be debating how long I would even tell, like, family and close friends. I mean, I'm sure I would at some point, but...
Yeah, it would probably happen when you came driving a nice car. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How did you afford that? Well, funny you should ask. 4 years ago, I won the lottery.
Or, oh shit, what was it? Yeah, I definitely wouldn't advertise it. You know how you get some winners, like, with their presents, like, getting a picture in the paper with their giant checks and stuff. No.
No way.
I'm telling fucking no one. Because that's also just a really nice way to paint a fucking target on you.
Yeah. Well, that, and like, even if you didn't go to the news with it and you told everyone, I'm not saying like yourself, and I personally wouldn't, let's say you won or I won, it puts you in a kind of a bind as well. So if I won the lottery, I would help you out in terms of your debt, but I wouldn't tell you where I got the money from just because, you're a friend.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that's a slippery slope with people you like less or you don't know as much. They'll constantly be, oh, can I borrow? No, man.
Like, yeah, it can just change the relationships you have with people you already know.
Exactly, and even when I was saying I'd help you out with it, the debts and things, that kind of sounded a bit like, I don't know, it puts everyone in an awkward position at that point.
Yeah. It's like a power dynamic. It introduces this weird power dynamic where like everything's just suddenly off balance and people aren't equal anymore.
Exactly, and I wouldn't want that, to be honest. It sounds like a cheapskate. I wouldn't want the change in relationship. I'm not going to give you a couple of £100 for, not you, I mean like anyone else, even for a sausage that costs a couple of £100. I don't know.
Oh, if anyone can hear that, I'm not peeing like myself sitting here. I'm pouring a flask of coffee into my like giant mug.
One of the worst things that ever happened was I was dating someone ages and ages ago, and she was the nicest person in terms of money. And she every time, because we had a mutual friend who was always in debt.
Yeah.
She wasn't very sensible as well. She was going to always, and will, I imagine now, still be in debt with the way she is with money. And she was in a bind. She asked me if I could even just give her like £20. No. It was just a straight up no. I was working in Primark at the time. I probably didn't have £20 anyway. But either way, I wasn't going to do it even if I did, because again, the power dynamic itself, plus I didn't want to look at her, which is what happened because my partner gave her the money.
Yeah.
There was a lovely status of her going out on a night out, and it's like, I kind of, every sitcom's done an episode like that as well, in fairness, where you shouldn't be spending the money on that. You can't tell me what I'm spending my money on. Oh,
I'd be so pissed.
Oh, yeah, she was, to be honest with you. But she did it again, like multiple times, and it's like, well, at this point, kind of fool on you, really, isn't it?
Just reminded me there, I know this is just nothing to do with anything, kind of, but I loaned a friend £20 the other week, and I don't think he's paid me... Nope, never mind, friend. You are good for it. I swear
Did you
I
just
know.
get a message back there? Did you?
No, I just had a quick check of my bank account on my mobile app.
Oh,
I don't know what it is. I'm not going to go into too much details and dox him or anything, but he's a friend I had who got into like a lot of money a little while ago. Like, I don't know if it was a will thing or some kind of payment, but he had thousands, and really good for him. But he kind of did what I wouldn't do, and that is he did quit his job, and then took repeated trips abroad.
yeah,
And
that's
this was a
it.
couple of years ago, and now he's actually in a position where he borrows bits of money from me every month.
You say like, no, that's not what you do. That's what the original point was. If you won the lottery, I probably still wouldn't quit the job I'm at now.
No.
I'd probably still do it.
Do you know what? I might even be better at my job, as weird as it is, because I'd be less stressed about the money. I'd be like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just
Yeah,
take things
just have
real easy.
have some fun with it. If worst comes to worst,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm rich. But I'd work a lot harder on certain media things. I might even help with the advertising on these shows, promote it a lot more. Because at the moment, I'm not putting any money into anything. I'm doing extracurricular,
Yeah.
and I probably won't until I start seeing money come back. And I think that's the way to do it. To be fair.
I mean, obviously, I mentioned about being in debt. Like, it was a big a big expenditure I did make in the recent months was this computer I'm recording on right now. But that's also because my old laptop was dying, and I use the laptop more for just this and gaming. I use all for other stuff as well, so I did kind of need one anyway.
It's a smart piece of equipment as well, from what you've shown me or told me about as well.
Oh well, it's a lot faster than my last one. I'll give you that. I mean, my last one was about 6 years old, so obviously it was starting to slow down a bit.
Aye.
Yeah, if my friend does happen to be listening, and he's the only friend I lend money to on a regular occurrence, I'm not dissing you. In fact, the only reason I keep lending you money is you actually are good for it, and you do give it back when you are paid. Like,
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
like other people I've known who I've lent money to and then have like disappeared and then just asked for more money later on, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know this person, so I mean, no disrespect if he is listening.
No.
I hope he is, because it'd be nice to have fans. But it's one of those things, and I imagine in hindsight, even for himself now, he probably regrets. I wish I hadn't quit my job.
Yeah.
But that's the lesson you learn, I suppose.
He just
We've
seemed
all
he just seemed to burn through it really quick, and maybe there was other circumstances there. I doesn't know. I know he sometimes does have like other things going on in his life, but God, like the fact that at one point you felt comfortable enough to like quit his job and go on multiple trips to the Far East of all places, and now he's like, now he needs to borrow money. I just makes damn. I do feel kind of bad for him.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, as long as he's okay now, I hope.
Yeah, well, as I said, he is good for the lending. That's why I'm willing to actually keep lending him money. If he didn't pay me back, there might be a problem. Not to sound like I'm some sort of loan shark. I mean, I don't charge him interest, so that's one thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it keeps him away from those sort of payday loan places, which sadly I've had involvement with myself.
Well, me too. That's part of the reason I'm in debt right now that I'm paying off.
Yeah, they're a vicious cycle, those. But yeah, fuck them. To be honest with you.
So this was fun financial talk.
Yeah, I suppose it's just an odd
Yeah.
introduction. Although this is an odd segue in terms of financial, because what we were going to do for the show was the Batman movies. Bruce Wayne being a billionaire. You see the connection now.
Yeah.
But I think you're still waiting for.
Yeah, this I know we did kind of promise last time we were going to cover the Burton Batman films, but this one's on me. I kind of had to wait till I was paid before like ordering them, because I don't order the actual DVDs. And unless I was going to sail the high seas, there's kind of no legal streaming service I can use just to watch them.
Yeah.
Unless I wanted to pay for like a 1-day rent, which
There's no point. For the sake of waiting a few more days.
yeah, and for the sake of films that I actually like and will rewatch as well, because I have seen them before, I just happen not to own them. So yeah, I have all it done, but they're not expected for another week, so I won't be covering the Burton Batman films this week at least.
Yeah.
Me complaining about finances there though, and saying I've also decided to buy some Batman DVDs. and comics. So
Nice.
I'm probably not the smartest with money right now.
You're allowed every so often, though.
I've set myself a little limit of just getting a few things like that, and then no more. Like, I'm finished now. I've kind of ordered the stuff I want to order, and then the rest is just going to where it's supposed to be. And then next month I'll make a list of maybe 3 or 4 other small things I want to require.
Yeah.
And then get them as like a treat.
Yeah, you were smarter than me for one of them specifically, because I bought, and I got it cheap, luckily, but I got Superman issue 75,
nice,
which is the death of Superman, but I bought it original because I found it cheap, and I've decided to get that entire saga as an original, and I've 15 quid to get the first appearance of Doomsday. So already I've probably spent, because if you don't mind me spoiling that,
no.
You bought the graphic novel version, which I imagine is considerably cheaper than buying the original.
Yeah, I think including postage, it probably cost me about £10, and I'm holding it up right now with the camera. I mean, I know why people buy the single issues, and it is the thing that real comic collectors do. It's just, I just kind of wanted the stories, though. Having the first appearance of Doomsday and 75 would be really cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the in-betweens, because I had to look up what issues, a bit like Marvel during that time, they'd split them up. So some are spread in Superman, some are in Justice League. Have you read it as well? I don't want
I started reading it yesterday. I just finished it this morning.
Cool, because I don't want to give you any sort of spoilers. We're going to give all the audience spoilers. So if you've not read it, and you really want to.
Really good. Now, the one I've got, it doesn't cover the return of Superman, so I'll probably will actually hunt down those issues separately. But
nice.
It's got the whole death of Superman arc, which is just a long rampage.
It's so fucking cool, though.
Yeah.
Like, I have to say, at the moment, I've got a bit of Resident Evil fever with Part 8 coming out, which I'll be getting brand new as well, because there's nothing else I really want to play. But Resident Evil 3 came out April last year, and the nemesis in that, the nemesis in that is just Doomsday. He actually appears like completely wrapped up as well, and you like blast his face. That whole bit, that's all I thought was just Doomsday, because when you first see him, if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of like engulfed in some weird pipes, and
he's like wrapped up within a weird suit, and that's I don't know how much I want to go into the comic lore. That's one thing. When he first appears, there's absolutely no origin for him.
Yeah, he's just there.
And throughout the whole battle with Superman, and ultimately the defeat of Doomsday and Superman, you never actually find out where he's from. It's not until like later on they go into the origins of Doomsday.
Do you know? I don't know his origin. Like, no idea.
I do, but it's because I've like read it and seen like other media with it. But when you first see him, he's like sort of contained within what's almost like a hazard suit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've actually read the issue yet when he first appears.
Oh yeah, I read that graphic novel.
Whole thing, yeah. What's really cool, and I didn't know about this until I read the whole thing myself, is when he is beating up the Justice League before he even gets to Superman, he literally has an arm tied behind his back.
Yeah.
He's beating them all one-armed.
What I quite like, if I remember rightly, and correct, because it was a few years ago when I read it, Superman's on a talk show talking about how incredibly cool he is.
Yeah.
And how the Justice League are nothing without him, basically, as well.
Well, I think the reporters interviewing him are saying that he's been a bit more humble about it.
Yeah, he is Superman, I guess. But
I mean,
he does talk a bit of smack, though.
The audience already know that the Superman is the Justice League in one person,
wrapped in one. Yeah. But I quite like that. Like, Superman all of a sudden kind of loses his humbleness a little bit. He's a little bit reserved in it, and then gets killed for it. Because he's always like the icon of good and purity, and the one time he slightly wasn't, he gets killed and punished, which I think is kind of interesting, to be honest with you.
No, it's really fucking great, and as I said, it's basically a very long extended chase and fight,
and it's brutal. The fighting in it is like when he knees him on the last issue in the jaw with his big bony.
Yeah,
Ooh, and you
well,
can see Superman's got a massive gash going
you
on.
don't see Superman bleed that often, and he just starts getting torn to bits and just beaten.
Oh man, it's cool to see Superman fight something that can really hold its own without some sort of bullshit reason,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
And they do go into the what Doomsday origin is like much later, but
What is his origin? I wouldn't mind knowing because I don't
oh
know
no,
this.
it's fine. So Doomsday is kind of like an experiment from like far ancient Krypton, where like an alien scientist was basically doing experiments to create the ultimate life form. So he took this one life form, a child, put it on like primeval Krypton, where it died almost immediately. Brought the body back, basically resurrected it through cloning with like the adaptations, and just kept killing this child in experiments to create the like ultimate life form. And eventually, through like accelerated evolution, it got to the point where he didn't have to force its resurrection anymore. It could start bringing itself back to life.
Jesus.
And the thing with Doomsday is every time it's killed, it comes back having evolved resistance to the thing that's killed it previously. That's why it's so strong and awesome.
Jesus.
And it's also where it gets its motivation from, though, because it's hurt and angry and basically sees all other life as a threat. Like, it literally has no other motivation except to kill and destroy everything it comes across.
Before it is killed and destroyed.
Yeah, probably for like just, well, honestly, probably just from centuries of, I imagine, torture and torment and abuse.
Oh, he's kind of cool. Like he reminds me of the Superman version of Abomination, but way more powerful, to be honest with you, because I don't know if he can fly. I don't think
Doomsday
he
can't. He can leap.
Yeah, a bit like how Superman used to, actually,
Yeah.
as well. But he's insanely. He's probably more strength-wise powerful than Superman.
Like, you can't kill it. I mean, you can kill it, but it'll come back. And even though he's kind of killed by Superman in the end of this comic, he later on does come back.
Immune to being beaten to death.
I guess so. It's just it's just one of those things, really. Like, how
That's
do you
one
stop something like that?
Yeah, that's one cool thing, and I wish I had it to hand because I could show you on camera. The issue 75, the last page is a fold out. So I don't know on your version if it has that in it, but Lois Lane's kind of got him in her hands, and he's like, I think Superman says something, and then all of a sudden the next panel is him sort of dead, like lying there dead. That unfolds, so it's exactly the same picture, but Superman's head dropped down.
Because of my camera setting, some of this is a bit transparent, but that's the page there. I'll probably throw up a picture or a scan just to kind of show what we mean. It's hardly a spoiler. This is like a fucking decades-old comic.
Yeah, and if you've seen Smallville, it's kind of mentioned in there a little bit. Superman vs. Batman, it is certainly.
Which is a complete waste of Doomsday as a concept and a character.
I feel like that threat should have been in the background from the first Superman movie.
Maybe.
Like, he should have been mentioned, or the creation thereof should have been, or something. Because when he just appears at the end as a Lex Luthor piece of wank.
Yeah.
That was awful. And then Wonder Woman just appears.
Oh, hey, look, here's Doomsday as well, for no real reason.
Yeah, honestly, if they didn't do Batman vs. Superman at all, and had a proper Doomsday fight with Batman involved, it would have been a way more interesting film. And I kind of like the movie, but everybody seemed to get so bogged down with Batman versus Superman. I think the fight with Doomsday would have been more interesting, to be honest with you.
I mentioned this when we were kind of talking about the DCEU. Fight with Doomsday really should have been like, film 4 or 5.
Yeah.
If they got, or maybe 3, maybe have a couple of good Superman movies, then have Doomsday. I mean, the original idea was to do like a Man of Steel 2 instead of Batman versus Superman anyway.
I don't know why they didn't do that.
Oh, it was the fucking executives basically making those decisions
in all their glory again.
Yeah, because they've made so many great decisions so far.
They don't learn as well, though. They keep making the same mistakes. That's the worst part.
They've done it just just this week they announced, we're releasing a 4K version of Justice League. All right, cool. The Joss Whedon version. Why?
The
version,
one nobody was hyping over.
The version that's mostly universally fucking panned.
Ah, man, I really need to watch that the Snyder cut while I can, because I've got the availability at the moment.
I've talking about me being irresponsible with money again. Apart from comics and the DVDs I've ordered, I've also done my pre-order for that.
Nice.
Wasn't much though.
No.
It was $9.99 because I'm still someone who uses DVDs. I do have a Blu-ray player in my PS4.
Yeah.
But I only own 3 Blu-rays, and I'm not that. God, I'm not that into the super into the clear imaging. I mean, good imagery's fine and shit, but it's not a driving sort of focus for me to buy things.
It's not the reason you're buying it.
No.
Yeah. No, I will check it out, and the fact that you're willing to buy it brand new as well means it's probably good.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's definitely worth having. I don't know how often I would pay. Don't know how often I would play it in one again.
Yeah, that's the main thing, and the main reason I've not watched this 4 hours.
If I watch it in future, I might watch it in parts, which you could actually do because the movie does essentially have chapters.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of cool.
God, I was flicking through Disney Plus recently because they've got is it Star on it now?
Yeah.
Which has some of the 20th Century Fox movies and some of the other ones there. And I noticed they had Cleopatra on, which is the only movie I can immediately think of which I've seen, which is longer than Justice League Snyder Cut.
Is that the one that's 4.5 hours to
4
5
hours, 8 minutes, I think.
Is it? Jesus
And I've
Christ.
seen the fucking thing.
What, in one?
Yeah. Actually, do you know what? It's not bad, but it lost money, I think, because it was so fucking expensive.
Mm. Yeah. Wasn't there another film? Is it Caligula's quite long? Coming to 4 hours as well?
I've not actually seen that one. That's the one with Malcolm McDowell.
Same.
I think it was well, I don't think that one lost money, because I don't think the budget for that was crazy expensive, although it did have a decent budget to it. And it was definitely more of an underground independent movie than say something like Cleopatra was.
Or Ben-Hur.
Oh yeah, Ben-Hur.
Which again, I think it's quite long, but it's not. It's only 2 hours or something.
I haven't seen Ben-Hur. That's it's one of the classic ones I haven't seen.
I think it's just synonymous mostly because of its massive crowd scene. It's got a scene where it's got the most extras in it.
Yeah. I have, and I've obviously seen the Kirk Douglas Spartacus movie.
How is it?
It's pretty good. It's long, and the DVD edition I have has the intermission in it. So for a few minutes in the middle, it'll just go black screen with instrumental. So I don't know, you can just go to the toilet and get some food, I guess.
That's cool. It reminds me, 2001 AD's got its intermission in it.
Does it?
Weirdly. Yeah. That's bizarre. It's a good film, but that's quite long as well.
This will lose me some credit. I've not even seen 2001.
It's fine. It's one of those. It's a 3-part movie, so you could honestly watch it in 3 parts if you wanted to. The bit at the start with the apes is very famous, so I'm not ruining it. You could skip, to be honest with you.
It's one of those things that has been referenced so much in pop culture. I think everyone's seen it anyway.
I'd recommend reading the book, to be honest with you, because it's different. And it's unbelievable. You don't get the same sort of gravity, and it's harder to do on film.
Yeah.
Because your imagination, as Shakespeare even put it, is better than anything that anybody can do or portray. So the way that the vastness of space and their travel, because instead of going to they're going to Jupiter in the movie, they're actually going to Saturn in the book.
All right.
Which is a lot longer journey, and there's whole chapters just dedicated to Dave. Sit there just thinking about how insignificant he is compared to the universe. And I remember reading it on the bus to work thinking, it's going to be a good day at work. That's exactly what I needed. Because it's kind of humbling. And I like that sort of thing. A lot of people get sort of existential and worry about it. But
I know I'm the same with you. I actually find that stuff about the vastness and cold indifference of the universe weirdly comforting.
yeah.
Where it depresses other people, I know.
I've got 2010, the book as well, but I've never even seen the movie to that.
I know one guy who said he actually preferred that movie, but he was also a bit of a contrarian, so I don't know if he just genuinely liked the film or it's just cool to say.
Probably the latter, to be honest with you, because I don't know anybody who's seen 2001 AD and doesn't love it. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, sci-fi. I'd argue a couple of other ones are better, but filmmaker-wise, it's stunning. It's a bit like The Shining. It's nearly flawless.
They've been talking about sci-fi in movies and adaptations. They've been talking about doing the Three Body Problem as like a series recently. Well, I say recently, in the past year or two, and that's another one where I have read the books, and I'm sure what I'm imagining and getting from the text, there's no way they'd be able to replicate that on screen. Especially on a TV show, which I think it's what they were going with. I don't know how they would possibly do that, because the third one especially starts getting like really conceptual about, you know, pocket universes and the nature of existence and entropy, and it gets kind of weird, and it's like less like a solid story narrative and becomes like just a weirder look at like dimensions and collapsing dimensions and existence within different, like, and when I say dimensions, I don't mean like alternative words, I mean like dimensions as in 4-dimensional life interacting with 3-dimensional life interacting with 2-dimensional life. I don't know how you're going to put that in like a TV show or a film.
Yeah, and it'd still be coherent as well.
Yeah, plus I think it was an American studio that was talking about adapting it, which is a mistake because the book is by a Chinese author. And even me as a Westerner, I do know a little bit about Chinese history and a lot of the Chinese history that's influencing it. You can't really translate that as much to like Western sensibilities.
Yeah, I can see it bombing then. Like, no, I hope it doesn't. I hope it's.
I don't know if they're going ahead with it. I probably should have checked, but I do know there was rumblings about it a little while ago. Great book. Though if you're interested, this might sound really anti-intellectual. I'd probably recommend the audiobook rather than reading it. Because it's so dense with concepts and things. I think you might absorb it better just listening to someone talk about it than like trying to read it yourself.
Yeah.
At least that's my experience and the experience of some other people who I know have tried reading it.
I'm tempted to, because I've never heard of it even, to be honest. So.
Cool. It's like quite well regarded. He's done some other books which I haven't read, but I definitely recommend that trilogy. It's weird though, because the first one, minor spoilers, is essentially set now in the modern world. The next one is set through a few different time periods, but a good chunk of it is in the future. And then the third one's also set in the future, but then starts exploring these other concepts as well on top of the narrative, and yeah, like it talks a lot about physics, philosophy, and sociology. Weirdly enough, is a factor.
It's kind of cool though. It does sound like the inner monologue of a character that we're probably going to talk about a bit later.
Oh yeah, probably. But no, I totally recommend it. God, I'm almost gutted though. It went to 3 books because the second one ends really nicely, but then it just keeps going and things get a little more messy, but also a bit more cerebral. So I guess it's one of those things. I'm still talking and thinking about it now, so it must have some good impact, like on the way you think.
I guess. When you're on about trilogies as well, that reminds me, I've still got your trilogy of Hannibal books.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Pay that back. Yeah.
I'm not too. No rush. I've read them all.
I might blast back through them, to be honest with you, because I really enjoyed part 1 and 2 when you're on about the third book there not being quite what you wanted. Hannibal was hard to get through, to be honest. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't as good.
Oh, if we're comparing books, the third three-body problem book, which I forget the name of now, it's a lot better than Hannibal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not even saying it's a bad book. I'm just saying it kind of takes a slight change from the narrative at some point. But
Yeah.
it's still good and thought-provoking. It's just, if it did end at 2, it's like a minor spoiler. It's a bit like the Alien movies. If you just end at Aliens, the second movie, and you want that happy ending, just quit there.
Like everybody in the world wanted.
But if you want to continue, and again, I'm not even comparing it to Alien 3, I'm just saying the happy resolutions in the second one, it's not necessarily as happy when you read beyond that. It's still really good, though. It's just, I don't know. You go through these weird periods of highs and lows, and even though the end of the book is like very kind of scary and one of the big questions about existence, it does have a weird tinge of optimism to it. I'm just going to keep rambling about this book, and if you haven't read it or listened to it, you've no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to cap the 3-body trilogy here. So.
It's cool. It's cool. That makes you want to watch it or read it, though, because it's not out yet. It might not even be out, you're saying.
I said I'd probably recommend listening to it, especially if you don't read a lot of sci-fi, because some of it can be a bit dense and heavy.
Yeah, fair.
I know of people who listen to the Game of Thrones books rather than read them.
I'm more likely to do that, to be honest. I've read the first one, and it's fine. Everybody seems to really wet their pants over the way he writes, and I remember somebody was telling me that he builds an entire world and then pulls it all together. Yeah, it's storytelling, jackass. Like,
yeah,
that's how you do it.
Something that I never noticed until it was brought up on the PKA podcast is how much he writes about food.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And then you look at them and you just wonder if maybe that's a big interest of his.
Was he hungry during that chapter? Maybe. He seems to spend a lot of time on the description of women's breasts, and I forget his name, the midget character.
Oh, Tyrion.
The feeling of pain that he has in his legs, just walking or doing day-to-day business, and it was a bit like, I mean, you've explained this multiple times in the previous chapter about the pain that he's feeling as he's walking. I mean, he is interested in some of the way that he does it, because each chapter is from somebody else's perspective. That's kind of interesting, but it's not the first time that's ever been done.
I think, just talk about George Martin, R.R. Martin, I guess. I do actually like those books as well, because I've read them all. At least the main Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire series. They are really good books, but I'd kind of almost recommend not necessarily starting them, because the way things are going, it's probably never going to fucking finish them. Yeah,
true. Although I hear they're filming at the moment side series as well.
It's like a prequel to do with the Targaryen Civil War, which happens centuries before the events of Game of Thrones.
Is that an apology to the end of the show? I don't know if you've seen it all.
I know what happens in it, and it's bullshit. Possibly, but the way the last series went, especially, honestly, I think it killed most people's interest in it, because it's getting very little buzz.
I agree, to be honest. I was never that mad on it anyway. I watched it all in a very short amount of time, though, because my partner was really into it. And it was fine.
I'm the same. It's fine, and I do really like the books. It's just I wasn't too bothered with the series because I'd read the books first.
And I'm not just being a contrarian because everybody loves it. It's nothing that special. It's fine. It's well acted. If anything, celebrate the actors involved because they're great.
I mean, I've laboured this point as well. A lot of people kind of wet themselves over some of the innovative stuff it was doing, and it's not really. If you actually look into some of these genres, you kind of know these things have happened before.
Yeah. I mean, your main character's dying is not a new thing. The weird sexual nature of it isn't a new thing. Not even in TV is that new.
And if you've read the books as well, most of the major developments that happen, you know about already.
Yeah, true, exactly. But it was nice to have such a massive amount of people get behind something, though. So for that in itself, I think it's pretty cool. Me saying that I didn't like it as much as other people,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I'm saying you absolutely should. That's pretty cool. It just wasn't something, because I am a bit of a dickhead in it, as much as if something's really popular, I won't watch it because I don't want to have that conversation with people.
Yeah, maybe this is big. I don't know. This probably might be a bit of contrarian ism from myself, whatever you say. But I got really bored of just everyone non-stop talking about it.
Yeah, it puts me off a bit. It's why I've not seen the new Godzilla yet. Like, I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I love them, but I haven't seen the new one yet. I don't want to pay 15 quid to watch it on my TV.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things, but mostly positive.
Yeah, it's fine, but the Western Godzilla films are that. I always call them the Western Godzilla films because they're not the same, and they're okay.
They're not real Godzilla films, though.
Yeah, a lot of people have been wetting their pants over the last couple. Like, the last one was really good with Ghidorah in it and stuff, and the new one looks pretty good. I've had a spoiler. I won't ruin it for yourself, though. Mm-hmm. The same person who ruined Mandalorian, by the way, so he can go fuck himself. I might block them, to be honest with you.
To be fair, if it's something related to, like, kaiju or comics or other geeky shit, it tends to be ruined for me because the majority of the amount of content, the majority of content I watch on, like, YouTube is usually do with those topics, so...
Yeah. I know, I was trying to avoid it, though. That's the worst part. But yeah, I don't know if you wanted to, if we had an actual main theme. I know we're about 47 minutes in.
Yeah.
With us not doing Batman, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to go into.
Not particularly. I mean, there's the comics that we've got. Talk a bit more about them in a moment. I decided to, since I wasn't watching Batman, I decided to check out some other kind of superhero-related media, which I've heard about recently.
Yeah. I am interested, but I think you want to hold off on what I know you're going to talk about. You saw, was it Invincible, or a bit of?
I'll talk about that, but I want to talk about the other thing I watched first.
Oh, you're jumping straight into it. Okay. Go on then.
Yeah, I feel like we should maybe end something on a positive note.
On a positive, yeah. Okay.
I fucking watched Thunder Force.
Thunder Force, sorry.
I think that is probably what the title's kind of riffing on, to be honest. The Netflix fucking superhero movie with the larger than life superheroes starring fucking Melissa McCarthy of all people.
The larger than your wife comedian.
Yeah, God, I actually had. I'm just gonna grab it because it's over there. I ended up taking notes because I had a feeling this was gonna be kind of forgettable when I watched it, and I'm honestly struggling to remember stuff without looking at my notes. I'm just crapping my notepad.
The thing is, right, I know I was making a couple of jokes there, and I'm not being mean to anybody. I'm being mean about her specifically because that is her entire bit. The jokes I'm making are the jokes she says, just in a less funny way. Those fat jokes, or how she's a bit of a tumbler.
Surprisingly, though, without besides the fact that she is larger and so's what's her name? I forgot. It's Octavia Spencer, maybe the other one. Mm-hmm. Besides the fact they're larger ladies, weirdly, that wasn't that much of a recurring theme in the jokes, which was fucking surprising, especially given the title.
Yeah, honestly, I'll tip my hat to that then.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. I won't watch it.
Oh, God, no, seriously. I know watching bad movies can be entertaining. It's something I and yourself do quite often, especially with some of the famously bad ones.
Yeah.
This is not one of those. It's bad, but not in a terribly entertaining way. Like,
yeah, it's Hobgoblin's bad because without the MST, that was trying to be funny.
Because honestly, I think Hobgoblins is kind of trashy entertaining on its own. Maybe more on the level of Manos bad, because Manos is near unwatchable without riffing.
Yeah. I've never managed it, to be fair, but my partner has.
I have once. But yeah, I ended up taking notes and give my
So
overall views. Didn't fucking like it. Let's just
I was going to say out of 10.
God out of 10. I'm not be hyperbolic. I'm gonna say a 2.
Oh, well, that's more than I thought, to be fair.
There is actually one kind of. It's not even that it's that good a bit, but it did kind of elevate the moments when it was on screen, and I'll bring that up in a minute. But overall, garbage. And I had this sneaking suspicion throughout the film, and I haven't looked into the background for this, but I'm not sure. But it seemed like it was written and made by people who actually don't really read or watch comic book media, to be honest.
That's unsurprising.
Because everything they were kind of doing, sure, they were referencing heroes and superpowers and villains, but all seemed very surface level.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there's like other parodies and like riffs of like the superhero genre where they're referencing certain tropes, they're referencing themes or even characters or things that happened, and you kind of know whoever's wrote that. If they don't know and love the shit themselves, they've at least done their research.
Yeah.
None of that here.
Jesus. So basically, it's her in another role,
Essentially,
advertising herself.
That was another weird thing, because I have a bit of a mixed relationship with Melissa McCarthy, where I don't think she's that funny, but she's been in like one or two things which I thought was fine, and she's done okay in. And it helps when they don't like play on the fat, obnoxious comedy. To be honest,
I've not seen the Ghostbusters thing that caused a massive fuss. She's in that, I'm sure.
I have, but I'm one of those weird freaks who that didn't really offend. Like,
it doesn't offend me. It just looks dull. Like the first Ghostbusters, when I rewatched it, because it's one of those films that everybody wets their pants over, and I was like, it's a fine film, it's okay. But when I rewatched it, it was mid. It was a lot of fun, but I think I'm comparing it to a lot of the shit that's out now.
It is, but this might sound like me being contrarian as well. I do get the love the original Ghostbusters have, and it is a good movie. I do actually feel like it might be slightly overrated, though, culturally.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just me.
Well, I'm like that with the Breakfast Club and things, though, as well. It's like, it's fine, but...
Yeah.
It's not something, because they'll have conventions, do all sorts. At least with Ghostbusters, you can dress up like one of them.
Yeah.
Like, but even then, I think it's because we've got a mutual. Well, we know of somebody who kind of ruins the image a little bit.
What with fan wankery?
Yeah, and they were apparently petitioning all sorts of bloody murder to get the new one not made. Just let them sink themselves. It's never going to do well.
I can believe that. I swear that guy was probably having Chris Chan style rants about the new Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2016.
Venkman's arms aren't blue.
Yeah, that kind of shit. God, I'm trying to think how I even talk about Thunder Force. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'll quickly sort of explain the plot. So, sometime in the 80s, this cosmic event happens, which gives like certain members of the human populace superpowers. But for some reason, it only affects those who are genetically predisposed to becoming sociopaths.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, superpowers exist, but mainly just for people who are going to be villains. Which isn't a bad idea. I mean, it's been done before, but it's not like a terrible concept to start with. And then, this nerdy girl who's ultimately played an adult form by like Octavia. She's bullied in school after her parents were like murdered by these bad. Oh, by the way, the bad guys are called the Miscreants. That's their term for villains in this universe, the Miscreants.
Is this a safe space sort of film? Is it?
No idea. But yeah, anyway, the main character, who's arguably, I forget her name, Octavia Spencer. her parents are killed by the miscreants, and she'll keep bringing up this fact throughout the movie repeatedly. It kind of reminds me of when they keep doing a new Batman movie, and they just have to constantly bring up the fact that his parents are dead.
The miscreants, those tykes.
Yeah.
They came and killed their parents.
So she's on this lifelong mission from a child to become, like, scientifically minded and a genius to find a way to defeat the miscreants in future. And this is the most, I'm going to try and quote this verbatim. I probably can't, but this is near enough what they said. When they're both kids at one point, this is like the most exposition-y piece of dialogue ever. The young version of Melissa McCarthy's character is like, I'm sorry your parents died. And, like, her character's like, yeah, they were killed because they're both geneticists and they were working on a way to defeat the miscreants and give normal people superpowers.
Like natural dialogue.
Yeah, totally natural dialogue. Now, as I said, this point will be brought up repeatedly throughout the movie. It just comes up. It's like, I'm doing this for my parents because they were yeah, anyway.
What, in the same way as well, like throughout the movie?
Almost.
Jesus.
Like, keeps
why are you
up
doing
the
this?
Fact that she's doing this for her parents.
Fucking Christ.
It's like, we fucking know.
We were there. We saw it.
Yeah, so that's the plot of the movie, and it goes back. They do this weird thing where they flashback to being kids and being friends then, to a few years later, them not being friends. Like, drifting apart, and then it flashes forward to, like, the modern day, I guess, 20 or 30 years after that, where they meet up again in a high school reunion. But it's weird, because they kind of act like they kind of drifted apart, but were still in contact, but from what we can tell, they haven't spoken in 20 years, so...
So it just feels like a wasted bit of story.
Yeah, and I don't know, it doesn't even feel that fucking necessary. Anyway, she's apparently perfected the formula to give normal people superpowers. But they just haven't tested out on a human yet. And, Melissa McCarthy's character, who I can't even fucking remember her name. Melissa McCarthy, we'll just say that. She goes to her secret super lab to kind of catch up and invite her to her high school reunion. And through the most contrived, ridiculous set of circumstances... wanders into the lab room, knocks something over, presses some random buttons, somehow falls into the operating chair and gets injected with the super serum.
I honestly could have told you that would have happened, just knowing who was in it and what happens. I think I could have written that for them.
So the procedure starts with her, and she's starting to develop her super strength, and because of plot reasons... they have to just continue the experiments with her, because if she doesn't complete the treatment, she dies or something. So Melissa McCarthy's character gets super strength. The other one develops invisibility, but it's like weird limited invisibility where she stops becoming invisible if she uses this super taser.
What? Why?
Right, the reason the super taser exists is because despite... McCarthy's super strength and Octavia's invisibility, as far as I'm aware, they're not really trained in martial arts or how to fight or have any other gadgets.
Right.
So for Octavia to like be effective in combat, she's invisible and uses a taser.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, it's really fucking dumb. And mentioning Ghostbusters 2016, actually, I do suspect one of the issues with that movie is also an issue in this one, and that I don't know how much of the dialogue they were saying was actually like tightly scripted. It honestly felt like a lot of it might have been improv. And the reason I think that is because they do very much the same thing they've done in 2016 and other movies, and that they won't let a fucking joke just end. They will just labor and draw on the same fucking thing, just let it carry on. Like, oh, awkward. Oh, is this awkward? Yeah, this is a little awkward. Oh, it's awkward that you're saying it. Oh, but I think that's awkward.
It's awkward that you think it's awkward.
That kind of shit. Throughout
Apparently,
the whole fucking movie.
There's a scene in the Ghostbusters one in a patent office or something where exactly that happens. One of them says something,
yes,
and then all four of them have to react to it, and it's so awkward.
Yeah.
And one of them gets sacked for a YouTube video that goes viral.
Yeah, that happens in the beginning of the movie.
Some fucking reason.
But
Because I saw the Everything Wrong With.
mhm.
I didn't bother watching it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's a 2 then, in your opinion.
Yeah, but this movie has a lot of moments like that, and as I said, it's obviously it's obviously trying to cash in on the comic book movie thing, but as I said, it's so surface level. Like, oh, she has invisibility. Oh, she has super strength. Original.
Yeah.
Another character later on gets super speed. Also original.
So like the 3 main ones, does one of them fly eventually?
No, it's just that, and the one with super speed doesn't come up until the very end.
All right.
But God,
Because
yeah,
they're going to get a sequel.
It's all surface level. There's not really any exploration like tropes or things like that, which you'd expect, because there are some decent comic book parodies out there.
Yeah.
You could argue.
Medium.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, even in the comics themselves, Deadpool is much of the time a comic, like a comedy character.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
ripping into the source material.
absolutely. Yeah.
You got the Deadpool movies, which do the exact same thing. Even something like Lego Batman, which I think's a fine film. It's okay, but it does play a lot with the superhero dynamics. It's also got a lot of referential stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously the writers of that kind of know what they're talking about and what they're making fun of. And God, you probably don't know what Star Kid is, do you?
No.
I don't know too much about them myself. They seem to be some sort of like amateur musical troupe, or however you say it, who do these like comedy spoof musicals and genuine stuff. I don't know too much about them. But they put a lot of effort in it. They've got quite a bit of a cult fan base. My partner happens to be one of those cult fan bases. So a couple of times I've ended up watching these recordings of their parody musicals. But they did one which is called Holy Musical Batman. And it's actually really fucking good.
Nice.
And you can tell, and this is the big difference between something like Thunder Force and Holy Musical Batman, is the writers the people behind Holy Musical Batman know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They're either by
There's
comic
love there.
fans or they're by people who have researched it, because there's a lot of meta jokes, there's a lot of theme jokes, a lot of references to the comics, and even fan theories and stuff like that, and the things that they do.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
It's clearly made from like a sort of a passion to it.
Yeah.
And a knowledge of like what you're talking about, whereas Thunder Force is just, as I said, I can't think of a word other than just surface level. It's like, oh, superheroes are a thing. Oh, well, let's just put someone in with super strength and make it a comedy.
Yeah, it feels a bit like she wanted to be popular with the comic kids, so she just half-assed
so lazy. And
and
weirdly, what I kind of picked up from Melissa McCarthy's performance is she actually didn't seem that invested in it either. Like, she was kind of sleepwalking through it, I think.
I've never seen her in anything I like, to be honest, so I can't comment.
I have, and I've seen her as a good supporting character and things. But
I'm turned off immediately whenever I find out she's
Yeah.
in something, although just sadly.
I should, there's other stuff in, like, this was slightly spoiled for me, but I remember another review saying that there was an obvious villain, an obvious twist villain in it. And I remember early in the film it mentions these I can't talk. Elections for the mayor, basically. And one of the candidates is, I'm guessing, a Hispanic woman called Rachel Gonzalez, maybe. And the other is a white guy called William the King. And it's like, haha, I wonder who the fucking twist villain is.
Is it is it the real life villain?
Yeah, oh, the straight rich white man. Yeah,
Well.
but not only was it not surprise the audience, a weird thing happens in the movie where he almost immediately outs himself for like no apparent reason. Like, it goes to the Thunder Force, like, there's no point in him doing it as well. He just shows up in person rather than just let his henchmen deal with them. It's like, why?
I'm curious, but I don't know. I don't know if I can bring myself.
No,
To...
I would not recommend it. I will tell you right now, the only reason I got any enjoyment out of it whatsoever, and the only shining light in this entire mess, is one of the mutant henchmen is is played by Jason Bateman,
Oh, okay.
who's the crab. So he walks around with these goofy crab claws on, and he does some physical comedy with it. Like he scoots a bit like Zoidberg in
Oh
parts.
no.
And it's probably not because his character's particularly good or anything. I think it's just the fact that it's Jason Bateman,
Yeah.
and he is kind of a fun, charismatic person.
So to have him play a shellfish man.
Yeah, play like a half like crab man was the only fun part in it.
Damn.
But like that's it, and that definitely doesn't save the movie. Like
No.
as much as I like him as like an actor, and comedies he's been in, like Arrested Development being the main one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, I can't recommend watching it. Like not even as a bad movie to rip into.
It kind of reminds me of that really
really
crappy looking comic that came out recently, with the plus size superhero in it.
The fuck! What was her name again?
But people have been kicking off about that lately, like saying, "Well, why can't they be like a plus size superhero?" And it's like it's more the values that it's teaching.
Yeah, and weirdly, Thunderforce may have unconsciously addressed this because, as I said, these are two larger women. Yet, apart from Melissa McCarthy, whose obvious advantages are super strength, fair enough, they don't really otherwise fight. And as I said, Octavia herself uses a super taser. So maybe there isn't too much hand-to-hand fighting because, I don't know, people of certain levels of health and proportion aren't that fucking nimble.
Just can't fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, this character apparently is she's super powered. She's got psychic abilities, which means she doesn't have to move to get the food that she wants. Which is one of the comments I saw. So just you being too mean.
What was the name of that character? It's like a really stupid name, like Justice or something.
Yeah, something really sort of bland and archetypal. Like it's the biggest thing ever, but which it is, I guess.
Yeah. God, it's also kind of reminded me of the fucking new, the New Warriors, which did get cancelled. So.
Unsurprisingly, as well.
Well, I don't think it's been officially cancelled, but I don't see them ever making it.
But I can't remember what that's called. But
here we go. Because I remember she's big and blonde. I found the image. Is it Faith? Is that it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of people oddly defending it, saying, "Well, why can't you have that sort of thing?" And it's like, well, you can, but she's going out and kicking the shit out of people. You would see her thinning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's more the values it's teaching. Like I've got nothing against like the whole plus size thing.
No,
it's nice to aspire. It's nice to. I think I'm too fat. Like legitimately looking at me now, I am overweight, and I'm doing something about it. That's what you should want to do. If that's what you do, if you want to be plus size, awesome.
I'm overweight as well, and I've been working on it. Admittedly, I need to do a bit harder. And I tell you what, nothing makes me want to work out more than reading Batman comics recently.
Yeah, exactly. Because you think, oh, wow, he looks cool. I'd love to look anywhere near that cool. But with something like that, where somebody is psychic, super strong, can fly, doesn't need to do anything at all, and just remains a fat waste of space, which is what she is. I'm sorry, I've never read the comic, mind you.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't either, so I can't go into too much. And as I said,
it's just not a value I think that's worth telling. Do you know what I mean? There's no place for it. You're not a superhero all of a sudden. You're just a lazy bastard who's doing some good apparently. Like.
I mean, I suppose that's the thing with Thunder Force as well. Like, if one of the powers wasn't super strength, there's probably no realistic way she would be in any kind of combat situation. Because what else could she do?
Exactly.
And again, I'm not ripping into people. It's just I don't know, and I do
But the
think
very notion is laughable though. On any other day than
yeah.
today. So if you were to have a plus size Superman, it would have been a joke in the 90s. It would have been a joke in 2000s even. But now it's he's so brave.
Yeah, I can't recommend it at all. Like not even as a bad movie watch. The only shining light was Jason Bateman as the Crab, but I'm shocked that they didn't honestly go for the fat jokes more, because it seemed like that was going to be a given.
With her, yeah. And do you know what? Fair play to them. That's great.
No, that was actually a nice surprise, I guess, because yeah, that would have been just.
It probably would have been less than 2 if it was.
Yeah, and I mean that's it. That would be demeaning to larger people as well. So.
And it is. That's the thing, because it sounds like I'm being a dickhead a little bit, saying that you can't have a fat superhero. You can.
You can.
What I'm saying is there's no value in it.
I mean,
there's no aspiration or anything like that, and it is demeaning to someone like me who is overweight. Like,
so am I.
I don't need that represented in my superheroes. It looks ridiculous.
I'm overweight, though I did used to be obese, so I have made some improvements. I just need to go a bit further with it.
But I was too, and
yep.
Even when I never once thought, God, I wish Superman was fat.
Oh God, no.
Like, I would love to see my fat ass represented in a. No, I don't want that. Yeah, it's a ridiculous notion completely. But again, that's nothing to do with Thunder Force, apparently.
No.
So I'll rein that back, because I don't want to comment about that regarding.
Yeah, but no.
I just think that comic, which I've forgotten the name already. But sounds the most boring.
Faith, I think. Who knows? Maybe I'll read it, and it's actually not that bad. I have actually been meaning to read more Marvel, because I've been reading a lot of DC, but that tends to be what I read anyway. So I was going to actually see if I can get some recommendations of you to what pick up next month. But could discuss that later. But yeah, I watched Thunderforce, which is obviously trending at the moment because it's fairly new. It was even on like Netflix's top 10 watch list. I don't necessarily trust their own rating system though, and like what's popular.
Well, they took off the star rating system.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a good chance they're just putting on top like what they've released that week, not necessarily what people are watching.
Yeah, definitely.
But another superhero thing which I heard mentioned a lot recently but didn't know about was the show Invincible. Because that's been getting some positive buzz.
I know nothing about it. I've never even heard of it until you mentioned it the other day.
I knew nothing about it either, just apart comments from people who I follow who were enjoying it. It was an animated series. It's on Amazon, so if you've got Amazon Prime, you can watch it. It is based on a comic, but it's based on an Image comic, which I don't know anything about. I don't know how closely they follow the comics, so I'm just purely going off the show itself, but after Thunder Force, I really needed a power cleanser. And I wanted to, talk about some superhero stuff as well, especially since I wasn't watching Batman. So I thought I'd finish on that yesterday when I was watching them both. So I figured I'd watch the first episode. I think it's 8 or 9 parts that's out at the moment. So yeah, I watched episode 1 of Invincible.
Cool. I might check it out then.
And then by the end of the night, I had finished the entire fucking show.
Oh, you finished it?
It was that good.
Damn. So out of 10 then.
Out of 10, Invincible. I'm gonna give it might be a little less than some people. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.
That's pretty good. That's pretty solid.
It's sort of similar feeling to say like Watchmen and maybe some other stuff. Not as serious as Watchmen, mind. But it kind of does the thing of like, yep, it's superheroes, there's some fantastic elements, but there's also that like added edge of, yeah, but in the real world, when human beings are hit that hard, they'll just explode into a gory mess.
Yeah.
So it is quite gory.
Nice.
And there's kind of a shock twist at the end of episode 1, which kind of sets up the events for the rest of the seasons, which I won't go into, but my partner was watching it with me, and they didn't like that part.
Oh no! I might check that out tonight. I don't know what you reminded me there a little bit of I think it's issue 6 or 700 of Spider-Man, where again, spoiler alert, Spider-Man actually dies.
Yeah.
and Dr. Octopus very famously takes over his body.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, you see Dr. Octopus appear in a mummified sort of form. And
Yeah.
the reason he's that way inclined is the first few pages of this issue, you see like an X-ray every time Doc Ock gets punched.
Mm-hmm.
So Spider-Man punches him and you see like his ribs all cracking and stuff. What people seem to forget about Doc Ock is he is just a fat guy with metal arms. So Captain America sort of brays him with his shield,
Yeah.
and his skull keeps fragmenting. So at that point, Doc Ock is actually dying because of all the superheroes
Mm-hmm.
that have wailed on him. He kind of brought it on himself being a supervillain. But it is quite nice seeing the other side.
Yeah.
And when he does in Superior Spider-Man, when he does take control of Peter Parker's body, I think he punches Shocker, and he dislocates his jaw, like nearly tears it completely off. And he finds out that Spider-Man's been pulling his punches since he's first fought him.
Yeah.
And even that, like, that's kind of cool. It's nice when you were saying about Invincible, which I'm sure I got issue 1 to when it first came out. And I remember it very, very briefly, but I don't want to comment until I've watched it. It's nice to see the sort of human aspect of superpowers being involved.
I don't...
Because go on.
I was going to say, I don't know how closely it follows the comics. From what little I did read after it, I think it does at least decently well. It definitely follows the spirit of it, I think.
Yeah, Image are solid. Like I can't think of an Image comic I've read that I didn't like, because they did Spawn as well, who's incredible, like one of the best. It's by far the best Image comic.
Yeah. And another thing that, to bring it back to fucking Thunder Force, Invincible was clearly also playing on superhero tropes. I mean, they basically have their own Justice League with very, very almost identical, borderline copyright infringing characters, but like different enough to be like a parody or a commentary on them as well. And again, it's it's been done before, but like it's clever, and you know what they're doing, and they're actually playing with the universe and the concept.
No, it's kind of cool. So it's like pulling the Justice League to our level almost. So the Justice League appears in DC Comics and are like this fantastical godlike creatures that everybody needs to worship and can do no wrong. And actually, in reality, they do quite a lot of destruction trying to help you out.
Yeah, that's definitely something that keeps coming up, and like the human consequences of what happens.
Nice. If you like that, then I've got a suggestion for Marvel.
Oh, absolutely, because as I said, I've bought up on DC this month, and I've been enjoying like visiting the DC universe again and some of the classics. So I really do need to branch out more into the Marvel universe. So absolutely.
Good luck getting the originals, which I was lucky enough to buy brand new. But if you can get the first Civil War saga, very worth. And if you can also get World War Hulk.
I've read it.
Have you read Planet Hulk as well?
I haven't read Planet Hulk. I have read World War. I do know what happens after Planet.
Yeah, World War Hulk's it's kind of raw, because the Hulk's not technically in the wrong. Just what he's doing is kind of bad.
Similar vibe to Death of Superman, although Death of Superman doesn't go on as long, but it's also very much like an escalating rampage.
Yeah, definitely. And, the Sentry Hulk fight is basically Superman versus the Hulk.
Yeah.
Which is what everybody was screaming out for. Sentry, I would arguably say, would kick the shit out of Superman, though. I don't know if you know anything about Sentry.
Not really. Just what I read in that comic. Like, he's clearly got some issues, but...
Yeah, he's agoraphobic. He's got something living in him called the Void, which will just tear anything apart, basically. But even before all of that, he's a character that... And this is odd. It's so bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
His first issue, which again I oddly managed to pick up really cheap, the whole comic talks about this character that has always existed in terms of superheroes. So in the 60s with Marvel was the big boom. So he's a 60s character. The issue came out in the 90s. He's a character so powerful that he willed himself into existence. Like, no joke. That's like one of his powers, is that he wills himself into existence.
So that's very God tier.
Oh God, yeah. The way he describes it himself, and I think in Planet Hulk as well, he's got the power of 1,000 or 1,000,000 dying suns.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also terrified of the power that he has, so that's why he doesn't really unleash it. He does on some of them.
Yeah.
There's one point, I think it's Fear itself, where all the
Oh, I
Thor
remember
hammer
that
drops down.
advertised when that was being released.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's basically because Thor could come out and everybody loved it. So you've
Hmm.
got certain heroes with a hammer all of a sudden. But there's just one bit because I think Doctor Doom is sort of in charge and Loki's there and Sentry's one of his henchmen there because he's sort of lying to him as Doom does.
Yeah.
And the Atlanteans just aren't playing ball, so he just says Sentry. He nods, flies down, and he destroys Atlanta. Like just goes down, wipes them all out. And they're quite powerful as well,
Yeah.
in their right, and in their own element under the sea. He just flies down and nukes them. Like,
Destroys Atlantis. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
I think you
I
said
don't know why I said
Atlanta. I was
Atlanta. Yeah,
just
he doesn't go
wondering.
to Atlanta.
I was wondering what the poor people of that state did to him.
Yeah, the lost city of Atlantis. Sorry, not Atlanta. I mean, Namor wasn't there, but he would have kicked the shit out of him as well. But he's kind of like Superman without the bullshit weaknesses of kryptonite.
Yeah.
And he looks almost exactly like that awful villain from Superman 4.
Oh, Nuclear Man.
Yeah, with a big S and everything, and bright yellow. I think that might be who they were basing him off, to be honest with you.
After we get through the old Batman movies, that'll probably be the next one.
I'd love to. I love the Reeves one. I even like Part 4, and it's panned.
Probably just
I
for
see.
Reeves, to be honest, because Reeves was Superman.
Yeah. Oh, DC nailed it in casting early on, in my opinion. Michael Keaton is Batman. For me, he is. There's no other. Like, other Batmans have been okay. Even Ben Affleck, I quite like.
Yeah.
But Michael Keaton is Batman. Reeves is Superman. Linda Carter is Wonder Woman. And again, I like people who've played them subsequently, but DC fucking nailed it like early on.
Reeves was so good as Superman. I think like the comics after a while just started modeling themselves after him.
Some of them still do.
Yeah.
And some of the renditions I've seen, but the only Marvel one I can think of like that is actually Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
I hate Iron Man. The comics, I couldn't give two shits about him, but in the movies I kind of learned to really like him. But now everyone bases Iron Man on him.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. Couldn't remember that. And I can see why. He's kind of cool, but I don't think that about any of, like, even Tobey Maguire, who I loved as Spider-Man. I don't think of him immediately when I read a Spider-Man comic, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen most of the Spider-Man movies, but I'm not too familiar with the comics. I've read like a few, but I'm not like super familiar with them. From what I get from a lot of Spider-Man fans is they tend to like qualities of some of the different actors that have played them, but there's never been like a definitive one who's just very much been comic Spider-Man.
The latest one kind of falls short because it's basically an Iron Man film with Spider-Man in
Yeah,
it.
even me who hasn't read the comics fucking picks up on that.
So I'm not actually that big of a fan of those ones. He looks fine and he's a good actor and all that, but whatever. I genuinely think, and they'll never do it because he's such a popular character, like he is the superhero for most people. He would have been much better as a TV series because the way even Stanley wrote them originally, it was soap opera with superheroes. So it was never that grand. That's the point. He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but they never do that now. He's too popular.
I know, obviously, they did WandaVision, which we've talked about in detail before, and they've done recently Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know why they don't do more series, because one of like the biggest ones, like superhero-related TV series, which was massively popular, was Daredevil, when Netflix did the Daredevil series. So it can be done. I just don't know why they don't actually do that more.
Especially with Disney's budget behind them now as well. And if all of a sudden they turned around and said, I want to do a Spider-Man TV series, Disney would piss money at them. They'd be like, absolutely do it.
I mean, even DC, could you imagine like a Batman series, but like with a similar sort of feeling of Daredevil, like so being gritty and on the ground?
That would be perfect. Like, Gotham's the closest thing we've had, with Batman specifically, because we've had like some Birds of Prey and Batwoman.
Oh, I should probably
Batgirl.
I should probably mention actually on the subject of Birds of Prey and reckless spending, as mentioned earlier. The eBay bid I won recently was for Black Canary Oracle.
Oh, cool.
The first effectively the first Birds of Prey comic.
Nice.
I won a copy of that, so that's on its way to me now, hopefully.
One thing I'll always regret, there's a place that I don't want to advertise them, but you know what I'm getting at. I think the cafe we used to go to.
Yes.
They would also sell comics, but they had a very set price for it. So if it was a graphic novel, it was £5, which is cheap for a graphic novel.
Good,
if it was, if it was a single issue or small graphic novel, it was £2.50, no matter what. So people brought in their comics and said, "Do you want to buy these?" That they would give you less, so you get £1 a comic, £2.50 for your big ones. And somebody came in, and my partner, who I met there as well, was one of the managers there, and somebody came up and gave him a whole pile. The original Watchmen, which I know you mentioned you're getting or have got.
Oh yeah, I've received that as well.
Yeah, that was part of it, but it was the graphic novel version, so it was, but it's first print as well. And she's like, "You realise that's worth more than I'm going to pay you for the entire thing now?" And the guy was like, "I just need the money. It doesn't care that it's £1. Just eBay it, you dumb shit." But anyway, £2.50 for that, and £1 for the original Killing Joke, the original. Yeah, and she bought them. Kind of, texted me immediately about them. She wasn't allowed to put them aside. Somebody, of course, snapped up the Killing Joke within seconds. But she did manage to hide Watchmen, so I've got that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wish I had. I've got a reprint of the Killing Joke, but the original would have just been tasty.
God, man, imagine.
There's a mistake on one of the colours and then one of the panels as well, and that was there. That's like the very first print. And
gutting.
Good now, yeah. I know for £1, like this idiot sold it for you. Just that doesn't matter if you really need the money, man. Like,
yeah,
you could have had more money.
I regret selling the Ultimate Spider-Man first Miles Morales appearance. Like as soon as I did, I mean, I did make a profit on it. Yeah. But if I held on to it a bit longer, like especially after Into the Spider-Verse came out, that could have been doing a lot better.
Especially after they announced the game, and this isn't being funny. The Black Lives Matter movement that came out recently.
Oh, God.
I put one on eBay as that happened. Didn't even know it was going to kick off, obviously, and I knew about the game, so that's why I put it on. I put it on for £80. It went for £180. Like the bidding on it just went ridiculous, and I've got 4 of the issues, so I sold one. I've still got 3. So I'm holding out on that because they don't go down. Like they'll peak and then stay there and then just keep going up.
I mean, it's not me buying 4 mansions, but I could have been capitalizing on that movement as well.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it because obviously when something like that comes out, like the death of Captain America when that came out, which I knew was never going to last, but it's a key issue and it's worth a little bit, not anywhere near that much. The likes of Forbidden Planet, where I usually buy them new, would only sell you like 1 or 2 each. But because I got in quite well with them and I like them as friends even, they would always sell me an extra 1 as well.
Nice.
With the Miles Morales one, there was no cap, so I bought about 7. I've given 1 as a gift.
I got mine in like a back issue sale, so it was like 50p.
Yeah. Oh no, I was a sucker. I bought them on full price when they came out. I say sucker. I made my money back and a hell of a lot more on 1. So,
do you know what, that's one of the things, especially recently, getting back into comics, which I've kind of missed, is just going to the stores and like going through like the long boxes.
I know. That's one thing I wanted to mention very briefly this morning. I'm a little bit worried in the current situation with COVID and everything. But when I was driving, I noticed there's a car boot sale near mine every Sunday, and I really want to go, but I don't know if I should, to be honest with you. But that's where you find all sorts of awesome comics and books and things.
Me and my partner actually had a similar conversation earlier about, it's kind of allowed, but should you?
I think I might next week. Yeah. I'll risk it, but I'll make sure I'm not in anyone's vicinity.
Full on.
It's gonna be hard not to. Yeah, it's gonna be hard not to root around as well in the comics, especially if there's any.
Yeah. Oh God, I haven't been to a car boot sale in years, and I used to go with them all the time as well when I was a kid because it was something my nan was really into for some reason. Probably a bit too much into. That's probably how she started hoarding some things, but. I've gotten great stuff secondhand, and it's why I appreciate secondhand shops.
Yeah, same.
Like, you don't have to buy like new shit all the time, and sometimes you can find treasure when you're just rummaging around people's junk.
Well, that's where I found my 2001 AD original as well. It was in a charity shop for 50 pence, and it's worth a lot more than that. Not loads, but
Yeah.
one of the best finds we had because we, as you know, had a bookshop growing up. And my dad bought a lot of his stock just at car boot sales, so people would be selling their backlogs of books, and he'd just say, "I'll give you 50 quid for the box." Cool, took that, off we went. You'd give 50 quid to this box once. We opened it up, an original Agatha Christie Poirot was in there.
Wow.
He sold that for, and this was cheap, it was £200. My mother was good because she loves them and wanted to keep it, but made your money back, quadrupled it in just one book.
Yeah. God, I think one of my best accidental finds was a place in Northumberland called Barter Books, which is like way up in Alnwick, but it's a second-hand bookstore. I kind of hope they're doing okay, or they can bounce back, because that does seem like one of those businesses that might have disintegrated in the past year.
Yeah.
But I got like a famous book and film, actually, Touching the Void. I got like a copy of that secondhand. It was like an older edition. It was like £2.50. Okay. Famous mountaineering thing. This is when I just started getting into mountaineering stuff. It's like, all right, I'll buy this. And then I got home, like looked at it, was like, looks like it's been written on. It was like, holy shit, this is a signed copy. That I hadn't noticed.
That's mint.
They sold it for like £2.50. They hadn't noticed, and I actually did like probably the wanky thing, and I actually went back to them and told them about it, and they said, "Oh well, you've got it now. Just have it. Like they'll let it go." But if they'd realised that was a signed edition, because they also do sell signed editions of other books, I would have paid a lot more for it.
That's still a good find, though. It's pretty cool. The only other thing like that was my entire life. My dad's always had it's the 1979 Halloween novelization.
Ooh, yes.
And I have no idea to this day how he got it. I think he probably bought it new because he loved the film, which literally just come out the year before.
Was that written by, what's her name?
Deborah Hill.
Yeah.
No, Deborah Hill's the co-writer of the original Halloween. This is just a different author altogether.
Oh,
so
the novelization.
Yeah. In fact, it's so old that it predates the second movie, and Michael Myers actually really fancies Laurie in it. So for a while, it got a bit kind of weird reading it, but now it's okay again. But obviously, being a huge Halloween fan, my dad he was like, "You can have it if you want," and I'd looked it up as he was giving me it, and on eBay it goes, even in very bad condition, about £180.
Yeah.
Like easy, and it's just a small little book. So what I did when I got it was, when I found out John Carpenter was coming up and doing the meet and greet, which my partner paid for me to do, I got it signed.
Nice.
There's not one in existence signed except this one. So God knows what it's worth now.
So you basically turn like a rare book into like a crown jewel item.
And I hate to say it because he's getting on, but when he does go, it's gonna fly. That reminds me, actually, I was an eBay find I was trying to get today was Jamie Lee Curtis's autograph and Kurt Russell's, both of which range oddly from about 50 to 390 quid each.
Wow.
But one guy, and I noticed it's the same seller, has both of them on, and they're at like a bidding at the moment of about £15 each, and I don't trust it. Nowhere on it does it say it's a print. It says original or authentic even. And I might take the chance and get them, because if it turns out they are facsimiles, I can get my money back because it's not as advertised, I guess. But how do you disprove it as well? And I'd rather meet them if I could, but again, they're getting on a little bit.
God damn it, dude. While I was listening to you there, I was still thinking about the Ultimate Fallout issue I had with Miles Morales' first appearance. There's a bidding war right now on eBay, and like it's at 120 quid.
Like I said, I got 180 for one of them. So
God, I think I sold mine for like 20 or 30. If I just kept on to that a little while longer, I could have made bank.
But that's the game you play, though. That's why I always end up buying multiples, especially if it's a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I still made a profit, as I said. I think I got the one issue for like 50p, so...
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I regret selling recently, because I really wanted a Michael Myers toy, and I won't go on about Halloween too much,
go ahead.
but I've got a couple of Michael Myers. I've got the one from Halloween 1, which is ridiculously hard to get hold of, with Dr. Loomis set up as a diorama. I've got the one from Halloween 2 and then Halloween 2018, which were cheaper. But before that, the only one I could get as a kid was the remake one, because it had just come out. And I didn't like the remake, but it was a Michael Myers figure, so I bought it, and I thought, right, I'll have that.
Yeah.
Had it, opened the box, as you do. Got the little, you get like a Judith R.I.P. bullshit thing with
yeah.
pumpkin. And about 5-6 years ago, I managed to get the original ones, and I thought, I'll just sell them, put them on eBay, quite cheap. Somebody snapped it up straight away, because it was a buy now of about £5. They go for about 50 quid now. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I would have kept it. Unboxed as well, like, and mine was unboxed, but
yeah. Not be too morbid. It's probably another reason why I'm just going to hang on to my signed copy of Tom Baker's autobiography for a while. So, because as he said himself in the book, can't be long now.
And that was written ages ago.
Yeah.
But no, one of the ones I regret the most is because I'm not a huge zombie fan because of what he did to Halloween. Everything else he's done's fine. Like, I actually like House of a Thousand Corpses and things, but at the time I was on such a tirade. I was like, oh, fuck him. I hate him. I saw a Captain Spaulding figure. It was like £1. I remember seeing them all over the place. Then obviously he passed away. That figure goes for about 60-70 quid now.
Damn.
And I could have had about 4 or 5 of them. Again, it's the hindsight, and I should have known. I'm usually good on that sort of thing, but sometimes you mess up.
Well, if we do get around to reading back issues and things again, or even just new comics, I'll probably try and purposely snap up like maybe a few appearances or a few events. But at the same time, though, the comic industry is kind of on its downward slope now. So
that means get them now, though, because there's a finite number. The one thing I'm kind of glad that Superman vs. Batman did was they kind of shagged Doomsday, because it means his first appearance isn't that much. If it was an amazing film, I'll be paying more than the £15 I'm probably going to pay for this comic now. But then subsequently I want them to make a good one, so then it'll go up.
No, of course. Cool.
One of the best first appearances I ever bought, and last thing, was Amazing Spider-Man issue 50. Mm-hmm. And I used to go to this place in Newcastle called Universal Export, which I'm hoping are still open, because they reopened a while back. And they had issue 50 there, and it was only £15. Now, issue 50 is the very first appearance of Kingpin. And I was hunting a first appearance, and I don't like Kingpin. I just thought, right, 15 quid, I'll get a first appearance. Finally, I've got one. That comic now, well, even a few years later, the Daredevil movie came out with Kingpin in it, skyrocketed, went up to about 380 quid. Now it goes for about 3,000.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. Like, because Kingpin's in the comics even is such a big deal.
Yeah,
he wasn't for a while, and then obviously in the movies and in the recent game, all of that helps. The best one I got was issue 2 of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that. It's not in amazing condition. It's in pretty damn good condition. I paid £15 for that on eBay, because it's the first appearance of the Vulture. Nobody cares about him. Michael Keaton comes out and makes the best Vulture you've ever seen.
Oh, he's great in that.
I've seen that comic in good, much better condition go for £38,000. In much better condition, though, and graded, which mine isn't. But the potential's there, so I could buy a house.
Damn, you might want to, despite the health risks, you might really want to start raiding the car boot sale then.
That's the main reason I would go, is just to find things like that, because a lot of people, especially with having the bookshop, I got a lot of my Hulks this way, and I got some really key issues. And my dad was always really nice about it. Somebody I remember would come in, their son had died, and he was a huge comic fan, and they just wanted shot of them. He was like tenner for the lot, and you're talking boxes.
Yeah.
Like my collection, most of this, and my dad just couldn't do it. He picked out a couple of them, and you're looking at, because the Hulk had 6 issues in the 60s, and then went to Tales to Astonish, and then went to issue 102 and continued.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get 1 to 6, or any one of those, you're looking at thousands. And he had 2 of them in there. And my dad was like, I can't give you a tenner for the whole lot. This by itself is worth a couple of hundred at the time because I was only a little kid. And he was like, I just really want rid of them more than anything. So my dad like looked around for my mother not to be there, give him 100, and he was more than chuffed with that, to be honest with you. And I'm thrilled. I now own 4 of the original 6 Hulks.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was still grey at the time.
And the issue 1 he was, Issue 2 he was green, but I don't have issue 1. I wish. I've got issue 3 though. 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Nice.
Yeah. But God, I could go on and on because I've got so many key issues, and the thrill of it is getting them cheap. I don't ever want to buy, even if I was rich, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't buy Action issue 1 for a couple of million.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I'd want to find it cheap. Even if I paid a couple of thousand, I'd be happy.
No, same. And I should probably be talking about the failure of certain movies. Probably be glad that Birds of Prey didn't do particularly well either, because I managed to get mine, including postage, for about £12. So,
do you know what? Birds of Prey is due something good, because that series that came out, which got sued to fuck, which is why it didn't exist and you can't buy it, was great.
Yeah.
And it's such a great concept that if they did a legitimately good film,
I've read some of the comics as well, and I like the comics, and
yeah, it's a great premise. And if you want strong female characters, there you go. Like,
and if you want representation,
Oracle.
Oracle, who weirdly they left out the movie, which was supposedly for representation, but fuck knows.
You've not represented like one of the least represented superheroes types of all time, literally.
Okay, so you race up some characters, and this is women are good, men are evil kind of movie. Yet you kind of kicked out the disabled character, who's a key member of everything.
And you really could have hammered home that whole business, because have you read The Killing Joke?
Not entirely. I've seen bits. I know exactly what happens.
Oh, well, yeah. So if you wanted to paint, as the movie does, men as the bad guy, the Joker shoots Barbara in the spine, knowing what it would do to her to cripple her.
One of the Birds of Prey I have read up was a follow-up where Barbara confronts the Joker again as Oracle.
Ooh. Well, the implication is that obviously he strips her, gets photos to drive Gordon insane. The implication is he also rapes her.
It's never explicitly said, though. It's kind of left to interpretation.
Yeah. Well, she would never say, and the Joker never would either, because he likes the idea of them being the only two knowing it, I guess. So if you really wanted to paint, guys as the bad guy, you can't get any worse. Like that is the worst crime you could possibly commit. And that was the one time I even read a comic and thought, the Joker's even gone a little bit too far for me. Yeah. Like that's worse than murder for me. Like what he did to her is way worse.
I mean that the Killing Joke actually comes up in something we've both read recently.
Yeah. I'd love to touch on that as well. I don't know if you wanted to wait.
Do you know what? No, I mean, we've got a bit longer than I planned to, but I don't mind talking about it, especially because it's fresh in my mind, because I literally just finished it. But among the things I did pick up recently on your recommendation as well, although it was recommended by other people as well, I think, was the 3-part killing, not the Killing Joke, the 3 Jokers.
Yeah. Which I'm sure is done by the same artist, because they look so bloody similar.
But it is actually a sort of sequel to the Killing Joke as well, though, because it does go follow up on some of the events from it.
That and Death in the Family as well.
Yes, it's actually really clever how it's called the 3 Jokers, and there's 3 Jokers in it, kind of. But there's also...
My mind was blown with that, though, as well, to be honest. I was like...
But they've also got, like, 3 prominent members of the Bat family as well, kind of in opposition. You got Batman, you got Jason, and you got Barbara.
Yeah, because I can't remember what issue it is. It's a key one in the 90s or 2000s where Batman gets access to a machine in space that will answer any question. And the question he asks is the identity of the Joker, and the answer he gets is which one.
Yes.
And that was like a huge sort of revelation at that point, and it's never touched upon until it seems this issue or those issues, which I thought was interesting as well.
It's interesting, but at the same time, it could also be is it really though? Although it
Yeah,
definitely does seem to be,
exactly.
it definitely does seem to be saying, yeah, this is definitely the origin, this is definitely the Joker.
Mm.
But you know,
And again, there will be spoilers if you've not read them now.
oh yeah,
You might want to skip a little bit. I think the third issue is quite interesting because it leaves with only one,
yeah,
and you don't know what to think. You don't. Is he the original? Was he made by one of the other ones?
hmm,
And I think Batman even puts it at the very end. It just doesn't matter,
yeah,
to be honest with you. Yeah, of the three of them, he's the one you'd probably want less to still be around as well. Like one of them's a bit more methodical, so you can predict him. The other
hmm,
one was just a clown, where this one is the killing jokes Joker,
mm.
who's just sadistic. Like,
It's it's what I liked. It's actually what I liked. What Gotham touched on, as well as the movie Joker itself, is the idea that yeah, you've got the inspiration, but then you've got the copycats.
yeah,
So the Joker could really be anyone almost.
yeah. The Joker's the idea that gets passed on
Yeah,
rather than. Um, but I don't know. I quite like it. I don't. The way I took what I got from it, sorry,
yeah.
was that the one that exists at the end was the original.
The comedian. I
Yeah,
well, I think that's definitely what they were saying, and
especially with what
yeah,
Batman says, which this did at the end when he tells Alfred a week after having met the Joker, he knew who he was.
hmm.
That is a massive deal in Batman continuity.
But
Uh,
it would be very Batman to know that because world's greatest detective.
exactly. And the reason why he hasn't told anyone also makes sense because
Yeah.
he's a good guy. He is a very, very good guy. He's protecting people, his family. For
Also
those who
puts
have,
him on par with the Joker as well because the Joker knows, but also won't tell.
yeah, that's quite nice because when he calls him Bruce,
Yeah.
and like the next panel is just Batman sat there like, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that then puts Alfred in a lot of danger, and who
Mm.
wasn't before because the Bat family were always in danger, but now the pedestrian side of them,
Yeah.
like he will go for people that Bruce Wayne is now involved with rather than just Batman. Um, so
There's a lot of implications in that as well because not get super spoilerific, but Jason Todd does something because obviously he's a bit fucked up and is the Red Hood after what the Joker did to him,
which he would
and
be.
so yeah, he does something bad, and then there's the implications of well, we can't even turn him in because to turn him in would also expose Barbara.
And then Batman
Yeah,
as well.
so it also kind of plays with the identity on their end as well, which I quite like. Why they need to keep these things a secret, even if they know.
And there's one little line that kind of lets slip that the Joker that remains is the original,
Hmm.
where the clown starts wailing on. No, the clown gets shot off Jason after telling him about how much fun it was to beat the shit out of him with a crowbar
Yeah.
originally, and that he wanted him to be his Robin and all that, and laughs about it. So he shoots him.
Hmm.
Again, spoilers here. At the very end, no, it's issue 2 where the clown one, no, the comedian one, who's
Yeah.
still around, does the same thing. So he's cracking the shit out of him with the crowbar.
Hmm.
He then says at that point, "This is more fun this time round," which means he was the one that did it originally.
Yeah.
So the one who said he'd done it was lying. So I think he was always the original one. Not to mention the one that seemed to be in control was in a lot of pain when he was laughing.
Yes.
So there's lots and lots of hints that the one that he does remain. But what's more worrying is that he could then potentially make an awful lot more,
Hmm.
uh,
That's what I
which is what he's
liked as
trying
well.
to do. Yeah. But that's kind of cool. There's a lot of graphic imagery in it, which is nice. I think Batman, you can get away with it, like the swimming pool full of dead bodies and stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
just I have fucking you mentioned the artist as well. I fucking love the art in this book, and one of my favorite like little sequences is actually in the beginning. I might show like one or two images here. Is Batman returning to the Batcave, obviously after something's happened, and Alfred stitching him up, but it makes reference like doesn't say it in words, but makes reference to scars. and then how he got those scars and how I get these scars. But it's like, it references, Bane, the Riddler, Catwoman, like other villains. And then, like, I think the last three are just all Joker. Like, the three Jokers, you could say. Like, all, like, the scars, and there's a theme of scars running through the whole thing as well, and Christ, it even brings up Batman's origin, like Joe Chill.
Yeah, the deepest scar, as it were.
Yeah.
But the Joker then does what he wanted. So the entire premise is that you think the Jokers want to make more Jokers. That's not actually the case. The original, I'm going to say, original Joker, used that to get to Chill, to get to Batman, to cure his sort of scar against Chill, who then dies peacefully. So the biggest worry in Batman's life is now the Joker. Yeah. That's his whole thing, was just to be the bane of Batman's life. That was it. He didn't want anything else. Everything else that happened in it was just to get to that point. Because everyone forgets, as smart as Batman is, the Joker is smarter. He's just completely warped, and he likes a lot more chaos.
Yeah.
And Batman's also muscly as fuck, so he'll beat the shit out of him if he gets his hands on him. I just like how nonchalantly, like, he kills the other Joker and then just says, "Take me in." It's like, oh, that's the end fight, is it? Okay, weird. God.
No, I'm glad for the recommendation, because I did buy them all at once, and they all kind of come in varying covers. I don't know how rare each one is, but
sure,
wow, I didn't even think about that as well until it came up in the comics about how many Jokers they were kind of making, like experimenting with like making more Jokers. Is that also a thing with the varying covers as well? Could that also just be referencing that there could be many Jokers among us?
That's a good point as well, actually, yeah. I do know not long after that, because it's his 75th anniversary or 70th anniversary when they came out. They did an issue which was Joker 70th, and I've got that as well. And in it is the origin of like a fangirl of the Joker. And I think the implication there is that he's done to her what he was doing to them, but it worked on her a bit more.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to do more with that soon.
I know that I haven't read them myself, but I was looking through some DC Wiki recently, because I think I was just trying to find out particular issues of certain events, just so I could like look them up and get them. I did notice there is a more recent Joker sidekick that exists in the DC universe.
She's a bit gothy though, isn't she?
She's called Punchline or something, but
that's it.
Beyond that, I know no more, but I do know that's a thing.
That's her origin, and that there's not much to her yet. I think there'll be more. One thing in terms of regrets for comics that I got rid of, I had the Court of Owls, all original. I bought them when they were coming out. They've gone up, and I sold them all like an idiot.
Yeah.
And the storyline Death of the Family, where the Joker cuts off his own face.
Oh yeah.
I sold all of them as well, and I don't know why.
I remember the special graphic novel edition where you could buy just the cut off face as a mask.
I might rebuy that, because I fondly remember the story. I do remember the end being a bit of a letdown. But what can you do? Court of Owls is great though, like a load of fun.
Yeah,
but I get pleb. I sold them, and I don't know why.
Thoroughly enjoy the three Jokers though. And I also like the implication that the true Joker is the failed comedian, because it's also kind of the origin story that Joker makes reference to, like the Todd Phillips movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
In the Killing Joke is exactly that. Obviously, the panel flashback is from that. I don't think they name him in the Killing Joke as well.
No.
I think he's called Arthur, but they never go beyond that. So the movie, when they picked Arthur Fleck, I can't remember why they chose that. I think it was what he was called in the 60s series or something.
Yeah, I know it wasn't his real name anyway, ultimately.
No.
But, nope, I definitely recommend these three books if you haven't read them, because they were a lot of fun, and artwork in them is just great as well.
Yeah, they came with special
cards.
Well, if you bought... Yeah, and I managed to get two of them. The only one I couldn't get was the issue 1, which is the comedian one and Batman, so I'm gutted, because that's like the one I wanted.
Yeah,
but
when I was when I was kind of price sort of comparing them on eBay, I noticed some people were just selling the cards on their own.
They're not cheap,
No.
weirdly. Like, they were free. I remember the stack. Fucking gutted.
But no, it was a good read, and I literally finished that before coming on as well, so it's nice and fresh in the mind. But with a lot of good comics, I'm gonna probably revisit them more or less straight away, because you kind of read them through the excitement, the development plot, but then when you look through it again, you get like pick up on the clues and even just like some of the background, the art and stuff.
Yeah.
And I particularly did like the visuals in this one.
Yeah, no, I'm not joking. I've read that 3 times now. Like,
Yeah.
It's quite a recent series. It's great. But yeah, I'll rein it in a bit. In terms of what I bought recently, I've just won. I've just checked on my phone there.
Nice.
Issue 3 of Superman vs. Alien, and it's 3-parter, so I now have all of them. You've said there's another series though with Superman that meets them.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. It was referenced in the video I was watching, because the video I watched I think it was just the story that you've got.
Yeah,
where he goes to a distant planet, but is like depowered because he's away from our sun.
Yeah, that's what's happening in this one. And I think I mentioned to you off recording, but Superman looks ugly as fuck in that comic.
Yeah,
90s are weird.
it was a weird mullet Superman.
But his chin sort of sticks out, and I don't know. But either way, I wanted to get Batman vs. Alien, but that's gone up ridiculously.
Yeah.
I'd love it though. I'll keep you posted on Superman vs. Alien, because I've only read issue 1.
Mm-hmm. Has he? I don't want to. I think I probably mentioned this to you. I didn't want to spoil it, but you see what he does when he first comes across like a Xeno, because he doesn't know what it is, and he's Superman, the ultimate Boy Scout. He's like saying,
Tries talking to
hello.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He tells him, what was it? He calls himself Cal. I'm Cal. Do you need help or do you need assistance? But he's depowered, so the alien actually does damage to him.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't do
issue
fatal
1
damage to him at that point, but like as it goes on, he does become less powered because he's away from the sun.
There's a cool bit with Superman being again the Boy Scout, where as soon as he realizes it's animalistic, he punches the shit out of it, and his fist goes through it, but he doesn't go flying because I don't know why.
Probably holding back.
Yeah, but the blood spurts out and gets him in the eyes as well. Like, Superman's on the floor crying with his eyes sizzling. With a Xeno around, so it's just like, oh shit, he's in trouble. But yeah, he dies. That's where Superman is completely. He never comes back from that.
No, that's the true death of Superman.
Yeah, I'd be okay if it was something like that. It'd be cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bought all these comics, as I said, but I've kind of read some of the main ones already, so I've probably blew my wad a bit early. But yeah, we'll see.
They're fun to revisit, especially the Joker ones that you mentioned there. And you're getting Killing Joke, aren't you? You said.
Yeah, it might not be this month. I mean, I could probably afford it, but more important financial things have come up, and kind of set myself like a little budget. Okay, I'll get these comics on this paycheck. Next paycheck, I'll get some other ones.
Another good recommendation of Marvel would be Secret Wars.
Oh yes, I remember that event running as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I won't go into it at all. It's quite long, so get the graphic novel. Don't bother. Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying it. And to be honest, depending where you get them from, comics aren't too expensive.
Yeah, that'll change though when it's dying. Sadly, just because print is, not because it's bad.
But yeah, I suppose just to round things up a little bit, definitely recommend the 3 Jokers.
And Thunder Force.
Absolutely do not recommend Thunder Force, but I do recommend Invincible. It is animated, which does turn people off weirdly sometimes.
Okay with that.
Not me, I like animated stuff sometimes, but nope, good story. Don't know how it compares to the comics, but I was into it, and as I said, I was only going to watch like maybe the first episode, but then there's like a big shock cliffhanger, so I was like, okay, I have to watch episode 2 at least. And then by the end of the night, I'd finished the whole fucking thing.
Nice.
I'm glad they are doing another series though, so looking forward to that.
Might watch that tonight then.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but yeah, minor spoiler, but a warning in case it triggers some people. There is gore.
Nice.
It gets very grisly in times.
No. Well, thank you for having me again today.
Oh, it's great talking to you, and great just to talk about comics again, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully, you do get your Batman next week.
It should be here Tuesday, actually, I think was the recommended time, and I don't know if you want to talk about like both the first two, or maybe just the first one, or...
We'll do the first two, might as well. The Burton Batman's kind of pretty cool together, and it means I can watch them both as well. So
yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, like just revisiting them. Like I'm still making my way through Smallville. I'm kind of getting towards the end of season 1 now.
Nice.
This one, some people might find questionable. I got the episode where it's got the fat chick in it who eats like the kryptonite kale, and becomes like really skinny, but then develops like a great appetite. The effects aren't brilliant, and it's clearly a fat suit that she's wearing.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize until like after looking at it for a little bit, it was played by Amy Adams.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck her. Okay, damn. I might go back through Smallville as well. They're just an enjoyable, fun, turn your brain up. Not even, they're quite smart.
Yeah, some of them. Well. I mean, it's very Monster of the Week earlier on, but
I like that.
I don't mind that, and it does a lot of justice to the characters of like Clark and his parents.
Yeah, especially his parents. Yeah.
When I was like going on a bit of a rambling comic book rant to my partner, because I just get really ranty sometimes, even though I don't mean to, but I get a little bit like a fellow that we know who gets really into stuff and excited. But I was like, the thing about Superman is, Superman's got these powers, but what makes Superman Superman? Like, what makes him, the good guy, the Boy Scout? It's not his powers, it's his upbringing, it's the Kents.
It's true, though.
That's where he gets his morality from.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Especially with those two, because those actors are great. Like they're so nice.
I love the fact that in some of these various medias, though, there's sometimes like cast characters who've been in other things. Well, actors been in other things, but it's different characters, like Annette O'Toole. Like, wasn't she? Did she play Lana in the
Lana Lang in part 3? I think.
Yeah, and
I was having that.
As I mentioned, when they do get round to having Jor-El's voice on Smallville, it's played by the guy who played General Zod as well.
Yeah.
And probably more coincidental than anything else, but Amy Adams was in this episode, and she's Lois Lane in the more recent movies.
Yeah. God.
And
that's awesome.
And Chloe herself became a real life supervillain. So there you go.
Yeah. No. Again, though, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Just I hope anyone listening has enjoyed this. Just fucking ramble about comics again, as it just seems to keep devolving into.
We'll move topics. We might even, because I know we both love B movies and the early shows. That's kind of what we went on about a little bit.
But no, we'll mention other stuff, especially if some things come out recently, or we just decide to revisit some old classics. But next week is Batman week, so
nice.
Burton's Batman week as well. So, that'll be it. That's Johnny Come Lately's episode
20.
20. All right.
Nice.
Good night.
Good night.